protecting loved ones at any cost.
You're always aware of where people might be.
On Extra.
Wednesday at 7 on News Channel 5. Kent Earhart has earned the seal of approval of the American Meteorological Society.
Before we get to Kent, we're going to take a moment out to share some breaking news with you. What's going on?
That's right. All we know right now is it looks like there's a fire on top of the Phillips Point building in downtown West Palm Beach. As you can see right there, they were doing some roof work there, and it's turned into some smoke and billowing flames. Our chopper just happened to catch the action as it was lifting off to head out for another story. It's right down the street from Channel 5 Studios on Flagler Drive. That's the Phillips Point building, downtown West Palm Beach. And
we just had an explosion. An explosion. This is on top of the Phillips Point building along Flagler Drive, right by the middle bridge. Black smoke gusting out of there right now. We don't have any report. This is happening. It just happened moments ago when we were getting ready to go to Kent for the weather. Now we can, I don't know whether that's reflections on the light down there in the windows in the bottom of where
looks
those
like flames, doesn't it? Yeah, that is it's certainly bad news, because certainly there's the Governor's Club is on a very prestigious, beautiful restaurant is on top of Phillips Point building, and there's some a lot of business people work there, a lot of law firms and restaurants in that building, as we see right now. So firemen are surely on the way, and
there's some rescue crews, or at least police, and there's a fire truck, I believe, down there in the bottom right-hand corner of your picture. These pictures are from our high five camera, and just as we took that picture, you saw the helicopter taking off. That was taking off from the News Channel 5 helipad here along Flagler Drive, and we're going to hopefully try to get you some live pictures from Chopper 5. But again, a fire breaking out on top of the Phillips Point building where the Governor's Club is located. And as we were watching, shortly after we went to these pictures, there was a massive explosion, and all of a sudden this black smoke is just gusting out. And that's what we have at the present time. We are watching it as you are watching it, and this is all the information that we have right now.
Yeah, we don't know if there's any people. If there's, you would think at this hour of the night, Jim, 6:15, still some workers working in the building, and especially with the restaurant on top of there. That is certainly a worrisome picture to see right now.
I don't know how tall that building is. What is it, about 12, 13 floors? And here is pictures from Chopper 5 over the scene too. And you can see that the fire is widespread, taking up the entire roof of the Governor's Club. And there is another explosion.
Wow.
I cannot even begin to speculate what might be blowing up in there.
Well, our producer just told us over the earpiece that there has been some construction work going on at this building, and a crane has been working there. If that has anything to do with this fire is obviously purely speculation at this point. But as you can see, folks, there is a big-time fire engulfed in flames right there as we look right on top of the Phillips Point building in downtown West Palm Beach.
And we can't see any firefighters there yet. It's going to be a while before they can even probably make it up to that location. Again, maybe 12, 13, 14 stories up. The building along Flagler Drive, if you're familiar with the area, it's right near the bridge, the middle bridge that leads over to Palm Beach. And there is the big curve there. And we started showing you these pictures about 5 minutes ago, just as the fire started breaking out, and we've had at least 2 explosions so far. Again, we are told that some people were working, construction crews working on the roof of the Phillips Point, this particular building where we understand the Governor's Club is located, and you can see right below that, that's the area, the balcony around what is the Governor's Club in top of the Phillips Point. Again, a picture from our live high five camera.
Our chopper pilot, obviously flying by on his way to another story, happened to point this out to us, so we're bringing you these pictures live and in progress of this fire on top of the prestigious Phillips Point building in downtown West Palm Beach. So,
okay, Bob Leake, one of our News Channel 5 photographers, is in Chopper 5, and he is providing us these pictures. Let's go to Bob right now. Bob, what can you tell us that we don't already know?
Well, it's a scene that you would very rarely, like a scene out of a movie. We just saw, I don't know if you are live on our shot, there have been several explosions on the top of the, as you said, Phillips Point. That's been pretty spectacular.
Bob, we can't really tell from the vantage point. Could you? The rescue vehicles are there, the fire department is there, I would take it. The area, and we might emphasize to you right now, if you have any plans to go to the downtown area this evening, I would suggest avoiding this area if you can.
Bob can't confirm Phillips Point. Down there.
What else can you tell us, Bob?
Bob?
I think that we probably lost communications
You
with
can
him.
see the fire truck on the southern side of Phillips Point, just pulling up. So obviously fire crews are there, but I would think with fire of this magnitude, they're probably going to be closing off some of the streets there and keeping some of the traffic away so they can get fire rescue crews up there. So good point made by Jim a few moments ago that if you're planning on heading down to the West Palm Beach area, especially Phillips Point building for any kind of business or pleasure at the Governor's Club, I'd hold off for a couple of minutes anyway and find out what's going on with this fire up there.
We can only speculate what is actually burning there. Again, we are told there was some construction crews who were working on the roof of that building, whether it is materials that they use in their work that is burning, liquid tar that they may have been using at that location. The fire seems to be confined to you can see it's split into two sections. The fire seems to be confined just to that right-hand section, the left-hand section showing air conditioning units that are normally associated with the top of high-rise buildings right now. But the fire, 2-3 locations on top of the building at this point.
Yeah, we haven't noticed any fire crews up there yet, so they haven't gotten up the either the stairs or the elevators yet to get up there. So we're just still waiting at this point to see how fast it takes to douse that fire.
Yeah. Well, the ladder trucks in this area, let's hope that they have the capability of perhaps getting that high and not have to walk up all of those flights of stairs to fight this blaze. These pictures again from Chopper 5, our photographer Bob Leake inside. These pictures from High 5, located on a building just to the south of the Phillips Point. This is Phillips Point, a fire burning right now. And that's really, you know, we hate to say it, but we're still, you know, trying to get information funneled to us. But what you're seeing is what we are seeing at this point.
Okay, go ahead.
Bob, are you listening? Can you tell us anything else that you've noticed from flying overhead? Now it looks like traffic is diminishing around the side. Are they are police cars detouring any traffic around there?
Well, Laurel, right here you can see traffic is flowing on Flagler right in front. They're allowing a little bit of traffic to go up and down Flagler. They do have the roads right next to Phillips Point blocked off.
That's Okeechobee right
And,
there. To the south.
I can just show you that they do have on each corner firefighters and emergency equipment.
What about people, Bob? When you got up there when we're getting ready to provide us these pictures, I mean, did you notice down at the bottom on the ground floor people being evacuated? Did you notice any people on the top of the building?
Well, these people look like they're just coming out right now, being evacuated from the building. The first thing that we arrived that I noticed were two large explosions.
25 to base.
Maybe not that long, but it's on top of the Phillips Point building, the building closest to the Intracoastal Waterway there by Flagler Drive. We understand that there are at least two explosions that went up, that a construction crew was perhaps working on top of the building. There is speculation at this point, again speculation, that what may be burning is not only the things that have caught on fire since the fire began, but was ignited with some liquid tar that you associate with roofing materials. People have been leaving the building. We don't know how many. We don't know if there's any injuries involved. We don't even know if there was anyone on top of that building when the fire broke out at this point.
Well, that's certainly plausible. Our producer's just telling us some more information that some people have been calling into the newsroom that some of the construction crews were using propane tanks, and that could have been part of the explosion. Certainly, we saw two very good explosions as we brought this to you live a few moments ago, so that certainly could be a plausible explanation.
You know, since the second explosion, the fire has not spread. It seems to be confined to those 3 areas that you see right there. It hasn't gone anywhere else. There is the wall there separating the rest of the top of the building with the air conditioning units, and I believe that looks like a satellite dish, but it just has confined itself to those 3 particular spots. So it might give rise to the theory that perhaps it is some roofing materials that are on fire, the explosions perhaps, propane tanks that roofers use in the course of their work. But at this point we have no indication of any injuries or how the fire actually started. These pictures from Chopper 5, photographer Bob Leake inside, providing these pictures for us, and we also have another angle, not as good, but from our live High 5 camera located on top of the building just to the south of the Phillips Point building, and you can see a shot from High 5 at this point. Do you want us to stay with this at the present time? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if they can roll some tape, John, of the earlier moments of the fire to show the folks at home who may be just joining us of the 2 explosions that we saw earlier. Okay, we're going to show some tape of that. This was about 10 minutes ago, Jim,
about
right?
10 or 15 minutes ago, right. This is, it started, we were going to go to Kent Earhart for the weather, and there's 1 explosion. And again, speculation, possibly it may have been a propane tank that was up there on top of the roof.
Or liquid tar, as they were saying.
Well, the tar may have caught fire, yeah.
Right.
And this is, again, a live picture as the sun is setting. The fire is still burning brightly on top of the Phillips Point building in downtown West Palm Beach.
And we haven't seen a close-up picture to see if there's any fire rescue crews have made it up the elevators or the stairwells to get up there and be able to douse the flames at this point, too. But once again, Phillips Point is the very prestigious building downtown bordering the Intracoastal Waterway here in West Palm Beach, housing a variety of businesses, law firms, restaurants. The prestigious Governor's Club is just below the fire, actually in the top of the building, so that's kind of a worrisome item to wonder if anybody was in there and had to be soundly evacuated.
Bob, what could you see from your vantage point, aside from the pictures that you're providing us from Chopper 5?
Okay, John, well, you can probably see that there are firefighters on the roof now.
Oh, there are.
Trying to boost, as you can see right there. Their fire, their water is is going to screen right, but they are up on the roof. Battling this blaze, which, as you see, looks like 3 individual sections right now.
Right, yeah, that's the first glimpse we've seen of people up there, so they did get up there.
What I can probably do is see if I can give you a little bit quicker, a little bit better.
It's closer, Bob, but it's dark.
Okay, well, the firefighters are up there. They have a hose. They're putting the fires out right now, and those 3 pockets that you saw. Again, too early to tell you definitively what happened, what sparked this fire. Yeah, there you can see them right in the middle of your screen, right there, hosing down those hot spots where the flames are. I didn't see the ladder go up the side. If it did, it would be on the other side, so we can only assume that they might have gone up through through the building. If you're not familiar with the Phillips Point building, it's the very beautiful pink colored building. The 2 buildings along Flagler Drive at the foot of the Okeechobee Boulevard bridge leading over to Palm Beach.
Rob, are they having trouble getting some of the hot spots out?
Well, you see it's almost extinguished.
Right. Yeah.
You're talking about maybe evacuees, if there are. I believe we have some here, but
not a big crowd. Looks like at this hour of night, 6:30, most people would have left work, and probably there might just be some people just trying to wrap up some things at the office. So maybe there weren't that many people in the building at that time.
And we must emphasize that we have not heard any reports about anyone being injured or how many people were in the building at the time. It looks like a little bit of a hot spot is starting to flare up again as they're trying to put that out. As you can see, the firemen there working, 2 little hot spots right there, and the fire confined to this portion of the top of the Phillips Point building. Anything else you can see that we can't from your vantage point, Bob?
No, this crowd control is, I mean, the traffic is still flowing.
You're looking through that camera's viewfinder, and you're providing us, you're seeing what you're providing us, and we're seeing what you're providing us too. So at least the firefighters are up there on the scene, putting it out.
Well, police are now saying that everybody was safely evacuated. We're happy to report there were no injuries, and that preliminary indications are that it was roofing materials that caught on fire.
Preliminary investigation, okay.
Okay.
Any indications?
So it seems like it's out at this point.
Yeah, it just keeps flaring up, and firefighters just keep dragging the hoses over there and taking care of business. Can we go back to that tape, John, our producer, and show people who may be joining us for NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw momentarily, but about 20 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago, this was the scene, the fire breaking out on top of the Phillips Point building, and you will hear in just a second see a huge explosion right there. That was one of two explosions. There was another one about 3 or 4 minutes later on top of the Phillips Point building, and then there were just pockets of fire going up on top of the building. And now you see our live picture again with the firefighters extinguishing and putting out the little hot spots that are still there. From this vantage point and the picture, we just can't tell what is on that roof at the present time. But as Laurel said, there is speculation now, or more than speculation, that it was perhaps roofing materials that caught on fire. There was a roofing crew on top of that building at the time. We don't know if they were actually there when the fire broke out, or whether they had broken down for the day, and things just happened after they had left.
Certainly was a scary sight about 15 minutes ago when we first brought you these pictures live from Chopper 5 and from our High 5 cameras, to see big billowing black clouds of smoke and a fire on top of one of the
if you want to
populated buildings down in West Palm Beach.
Go ahead, Bob. I don't know whether Bob was trying to talk to us or not, but in my 17 years down here in this area covering the news, I cannot specifically myself remember a high-rise fire like this. We've had them in the upper levels of, say, a condominium in an apartment or something, but not actually on top of the roof. I'm sure that someone that's watching will probably correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time that I can remember one actually on top of the building. Another view from Chopper 5, Bob Leake, our photographer, inside on top of the what's going on at Phillips Point.
John, what do you want to do at this point? You want to get Kent in with some weather before we wrap up and go to NBC Nightly? Okay, for those of you who are just joining us, you're seeing some pictures of firemen on top of the roof of the Phillips Point building in downtown West Palm Beach on the Intracoastal Water.
Local news.
I'm Jim Sackett. Fire breaks out on the roof of the Phillips Point building in downtown West Palm Beach. We'll have live team coverage of this story you saw first on 5. The Palm Beach County School Board votes on the future of summer school. And a pair of popular children's toys hits the campaign trail. Stay with us. The Night Beat starts right now.
Now, live from your news leader, WPTV, West Palm Beach, Boca Raton, Vero Beach. This is the Night Beat on News Channel 5.
The calm of a quiet West Palm Beach evening is shattered tonight by fire in the sky on the roof of a landmark office building. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Night Beat. I'm Laurel Sauer.
And I'm Jim Sackett. Thank you for joining us. Our top story at this hour, it was a fire that could be seen for miles, and thousands here watched live as explosions rocked the top of the Phillips Point building. Tonight, the fire is out, but the investigation into the cause is still underway. We have team coverage of the spectacular fire, starting with the Night Beat's Kristen White on what happened.
Videos on Flagler Drive.
It was 6:10 when the High 5 camera confirmed this was no ordinary fire.
Oh, we just had an explosion.
That explosion sent flames in a thick cloud of black smoke billowing off the roof of Phillips Point's East Tower. Watch as a closer look reveals the force of the blast, which sent what appears to be a barrel-shaped container flying into the air. Just one floor below, inside the exclusive Governor's Club, chefs were preparing for an elaborate dinner party.
I started smelling smoke, and I asked my sous chef, hey, did you smell any smoke? He says, no, nothing out of the ordinary. And then we walked to the side where we could see out the building, and you could see the reflection of the flames and the smoke coming off the top of the building.
Everyone was quickly evacuated from the building. Fortunately, no one was injured. Then came a second explosion, generating more flames. And here's that second blast from another angle. And once again, a container literally becomes a rocket. Despite the flame's apparent fury, firefighters were able to contain it within 20 minutes. Early speculation is that a construction project on the roof fueled the fire.
Some roofing materials, apparently they were doing some roofing construction on the roof. Those materials caught fire. How? I don't know at the present time. They have been extinguished. The fire is under control. There was no extension to the interior of the building.
Preliminary reports indicate damage to the roof is extensive, but thankfully the inside of the prominent waterfront building was spared. Kristen White, News Channel 5 on the Night Beat.
Investigators have been scouring the roof of the Phillips Point building for clues, and tonight they're not ruling out any possible cause. The Night Beat's Len Turner joins us live now from outside the Phillips Point building in downtown West Palm Beach on Flagler Drive. Len, what's the latest on the investigation at this point?
Well, Laurel, the fire inspector has been inside the building for about 3 hours now, trying to delve into exactly what caused this fire. They say it's a very complex fire scene, and fire officials have also called in help from the crime scene unit of the West Palm Beach Police Department. Now, while they tell us that is not standard in your ordinary run-of-the-mill fire, they also say that it does not mean they suspect that arson might be involved. Pictures from the early moments of the fire show what investigators suspect: 3 points of origin. What that means, they still don't know.
I would not rule out anything at the present time. But it's just a process of elimination right now.
Fire investigators started by talking to the group of roofers who had been working on the building all day.
We left the job around 5:30, 5:45. My foreman was the last one to leave with another employee. He did his safety walk, which entails walking the entire roof and checking everything, and nothing was out of the ordinary.
The roofing company had been using a highly flammable adhesive stored in 1-gallon paint cans. Investigators are confident that is where the fire started.
Basically, what we're looking at right now is a tremendous amount of roofing materials.
Firefighters say there also were at least 2 propane cylinders on top of the building. One may have exploded.
We've never seen anything like this.
Of course, the firefighters who faced that fire, that is their wish that they will never see anything like this again. Now, fire investigators also tell us tonight they are going to use some of the exclusive News Channel 5 video that you have seen tonight in their investigation. That will hopefully help them